you know, if you have any questions, just please, it's a very casual training, shoot them out as we go along. I want it to be as specific to your line of work as possible. We're going to start, you'll see in front of you, you have, first of all, our training manual. We did do a reprint. We had a lot of changes from, which we're going to get into here in this presentation, but the location of the SHIINE program within the state government has moved, as well as we have rebid the contracts for the SHIINE regional offices. They have also made some location changes in western and central South Dakota. And then in addition to that, since the first print, we had added a whole another grant. We have had some changes in how we do a few things. So it just really needed a new overhaul. In addition to just inserting pages here and there gets a little sloppy over time. So it was time to reprint, and we'll probably try to stick with this version for another 3 years or so, because it is quite expensive. Several $1,000s to print everything. I mean, for that manual just in particular. So if you don't have a binder already, we do have a few that we have, so you could take that. If you do already have a binder and you just didn't bring it, just if you could bring them home to replace it, that would be perfect, because we do only have a few for tomorrow's training too. And then in your stack of papers, you'll notice that this year we have a packet. We try to organize our printing for the training into a packet for you. So the first page is our agenda for the day. I like to try to stay within the agenda's time frame. My training that we did here in Aberdeen last week, we really pushed the agenda a lot, so I've made some changes to the training so it fits within the time frames, and so we live and learn, and you can't mimic a training scenario. So I think it should be good to go. We are not doing lunch today, so we do have an hour and a half lunch break, so you guys can leave, get food, reprieve from the training. I know it's sometimes exhausting just listening to someone all day, and then come back. And that's how we're going to be doing that here this year. And then we'll come back and we'll talk about, we'll get on the website and our SHIINE website, show you what we have there, and then we'll also get into the counseling simulation. We'll try to show you how we're navigating through this, and depending on your role and how you help people, you may have a lot of questions with that, and then we're going to review and do some closure. Throughout the day, there are places for you to take notes on what we're talking about. And so you could just take your notes. You'll see it's headed with each different, for each presentation that we're doing or each topic that we're covering today. And then there are some counseling situations that we never did get to in our Aberdeen training, but we'll probably, hopefully get to them here today. Just some things for us all to think through, maybe common scenarios. Then at the end is the evaluation. So I want to make sure before you leave for the day, you can tear that off and leave it for us to see, because I really do take note to the evaluations, and I appreciate the feedback that I get. I don't get hurt by them, so please be constructive if you have something constructive to say. That's the only way these things get better. So that's what I have to say. And Dennis, I'm going to apologize. This is kind of a fast track for partners. So we'll try to make sure we get into the level of detail for volunteers. And if you feel a little confused about anything, make sure you touch base with Debbie, and we'll hopefully.
Dennis has been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I figure it'll be fine, but just in case, you know, it's a little bit different setup than the volunteer training tomorrow. So, okay, so first of all, welcome. I'm happy to have you. I love this training venue. I love getting out to Rapid City. It's one of my most favorite things. And I'm just going to go through a few of the changes that have taken place, just so you're up to date and how our program's operating and what we're out there trying to accomplish and do. So first things first, and I know this slide is impossible to read with the white print on a light green. We tried to change a lot of that, but we missed this slide when we were done with the last training presentation. So what has happened here is we have moved a few of our offices. Our contracts are supposed to be rebid every 5 years. It was actually probably 7 or 8, 7? 7. Debbie knows best. It was 7 years. We were a little overdue for that, so we did an RFP. We had several people bidding in, or several companies bidding in for the contracts, and what was awarded was Debbie Stengel, her business Eris, was awarded the contract for both Western and Central Region. A lot of people ask questions about the Central Region because of Vera St. Mary's used to operate it. They decided not to even bid on that region this last time. They pulled out their bid for that. And then Eastern SHIINE is like it has been in the past. We have our office connected with, or that's associated with Active Generations. They're just across the street, and being so far away from Sioux Falls, you probably don't even know where that is, but they are still in the same location. A few changes that have taken place with it, and these address updates are in the manual, they're on a lot of our brochures. So we're trying to get things up to date. Some things are slower than others, or less on the priority list than others, so it does take time to make all the changes, but our website is up to date and all of that. So in Western SHIINE, we are now in the mall near Payless and Zales, is that right? Yeah, over by the AARP office. So you should go check it out. They've done a really cute job getting an office set up in the mall. It's a great location. We have partners with Social Security right there in the mall, as well as AARP. And so that's good. That's a nice change for our program. The phone numbers, all of that are the same. So if you have that programmed into your phone, you're good to go with that office location. We did create a new email address. That was kind of a hiccup through this change, was getting the logins and all of that figured out. So what we decided to do is create SHIINE.net email addresses, and those are now being listed on the website and all of that. So we have an office email, and we can forward those emails to any email account. So it makes that easier for if there were to be any other transitions in our future. Not that we expect them or anticipate them, but we want to be more adaptable and definitely more consistent for the public too. Central South Dakota and Pierre, we were located in Vera St. Mary's, their old hospital area, and now we are located on this truck bypass route, which if you're not familiar with Pierre, is the road that goes to Walmart, and it's in a nice location. It's a nice new office as well. They did have a major change. If you help anybody in that area of the state, their local phone number has changed. If you do still contact that old local number, they're forwarding it for us for 6 months. So we should be good to go in a transition, but that soon will end, and we will be just using this main local number there. So that's the updates. We also had a major move within the state. So the SHIINE program was located, as well as the entire Division of Long-Term Services and Supports. We were all located in Department of Social Services prior to really July 1st of this year. We did physically move in April. This takes time to move a whole department. But the governor had released a proclamation that we were to move the Adult Services and Aging Division of Department of Social Services to the Department of Human Services and rename it Long-Term Services and Supports. So we really kind of lifted up our operations and placed them in DHS. All of our local offices and staff are the same locations. There have been no changes there. The state office in Pierre, we have moved across town, and the purpose of that major state move was to better integrate and work together with the services and supports for those who are developmentally disabled with Department of Human Services. And because we do a lot of the same things, we support people to live independently in their homes, we provide or help coordinate assistance to make sure that they're living safely and happily in their homes. So it allows us to combine some efforts and to have a consistent direction and probably make more major movements. So I think it's gonna be a great thing. We're a much smaller department now, and we're getting a lot of attention in areas that we hadn't before, and I think it's just gonna be an overall great thing for our department. But it's a lot of change, so there's a lot of things that takes this big ball a lot to get moving. So it's slow coming, but we have fiscally and physically moved at least by July 1st of this year. So that is a big change, nothing that, well, actually the people in this room would probably notice that change, so yes. But our volunteers would not probably notice much with that. Like I said, we did reprint that manual. I changed the cover so that it's something that you notice, the new from the old. We've created and we're not gonna walk through that manual today. We're just going to reference it here and there. However, it is a great tool and I hope you guys use it, and it is up to date as of this year. So we're good to go with that. The new educational materials, we did put them out on your place. And we've been asked for a while now to provide additional support when people ask questions about Medicare Advantage plans. And our consistent and never-ending response was, well, really, it's a personal decision and they really have to ask the plan more questions. So what we've come up with are maybe some tools to help people shop around for that. And maybe it's not directly associated with your current work life, but if you hear of people saying how complicated it is to compare these plans, know that on our website we have materials like this to help them shop and ask good questions so that they know their coverage is appropriate for not only their current situation, but also a future maybe healthcare situation that they may have, that they've looked into it a little more deeper than, I kind of like it that they offer dental, you know, things like that. So it's usually more than what people notice at the first glance, more involved with that. We update this each and every year. This is not a new thing, but it is updated just like we've done every year since I've been around. It's the Medicare Supplement Guide, which I believe, did we also hand that out on each table, girls?
No.
Okay, it's in the back if you want to grab it. But this is a really handy shopping tool that I always like to point out. In just a minute, I'll hold it up. I'm pretty sure I have one here. I don't know what I'm doing here. Anyway, looks like that. It's located in the back. And it talks about the Medicare supplements that are offered in our state, but it goes in and describes what they are and how to shop for them, that kind of thing, as well as it compares pricing based on age and what plan that they're shopping for. So,
Not up to date for the new year coming up.
yeah.
It is. Wow.
Oh, no, it's, okay, so we update this each and every year around April. It's usually printed around June, considering all things that have to happen to get it approved and that kind of thing. So it is updated for 2017. However, it's like a moving target, these plans and their new information. So some plans have their fiscal year starting in January, some have it starting in April, some have it starting in June. So they change these prices, and they can change. They're not set in stone, just like prescription drug prices. When we help people compare their Part D costs, it's all an estimate because those things can move. They're very market based. Same thing with this. We call at one point in time in the year, we jot it down, but it could change, and your situation could be different than the one we've asked them to quote us for. So we do just, it's a guidance for people to shop. It kind of helps them reduce the amount of inundation of mail that comes into their mailbox as they're shopping for these things. Because if you call 12 plans, you're going to get 12 plans worth of information. Plus, if they may bombard you for years with information about their plan or their affiliate plans, that kind of thing. So it does cut down on some of that mail, the crazy mail that goes along with it. So what I still recommend to people is that they shop around it with using this guide is great. It's a lot easier to do a rough glance. And then I say call a handful of plans still to make sure you're comparing them and that you understand them. You know, you don't, and some people just pick one and sign up. That's fine too, but I still would recommend just calling around a little bit. Or calling your current auto insurance company, seeing if they give you a discount on the premiums and that kind of thing too. And that's all written in this guide. I mean, we write down, don't just have this be the end all be all kind of a thing. So that's updated, it's really nice and handy, and a lot of people, that's probably one of our most popular materials. Okay, so we have a new promotional material. It's a table tent, and my desk is a mess. This is something I didn't get to with the guy trying to set up my computer. It's just like this, and if you know of anywhere, or maybe you visit assisted living or a nursing home, if you think that this would fit at some of their tables, or grab some if you want to help us get the word out about our program. We did make it where there's a space for our volunteers and our staff to use if we want to educate counseling events, that kind of a thing. But it does have the basic SHIINE information and our phone numbers. If you ever think that you know a good place to put them, we'd appreciate your help getting our organization out there. So that's a new table tent that we just developed for this year. We also had, our new marketing director has had a history in radio, and so he has been really excited about doing some radio promotions for us. So we did one to recruit new volunteers, and we did another one now for open enrollment. So we're gonna listen to them. Hopefully this sound is working here.
Help Medicare beneficiaries in your community save money on their prescription drugs and help save Medicare dollars by volunteering with SHIINE, South Dakota's Senior Health Information and Insurance Education Program. SHIINE is currently seeking volunteers who will receive in-depth training and support for the rewarding services they provide. For more information on SHIINE, visit www.shiine.net or contact the SHIINE office by phone at 1-800-536-8197. This has been a public service announcement provided by the Department of Human Services Division of Long-Term Services and Supports in partnership with this radio station.
He's fast. Yep, that's the volunteer recruitment one that we released statewide. And then here's the
Open enrollment for the 2018 Medicare Advantage and Medicare Part D plan year begins on October 15th and ends on December 7th. Trained volunteers from the South Dakota Senior Health Information and Insurance Education Program SHIINE will be offering free assistance to seniors seeking help comparing Medicare plans. To locate a volunteer in your area, please call the 1-800-536-8197 or visit online at www.shiine.net. Individuals should bring their Medicare card and current list of medications to their scheduled appointments. This has been a public service announcement provided by the South Dakota Department of Human Services Division of Long-Term Services and Supports in partnership with this radio station.
Yeah. Yep, I think we're still novices on slimming down information. And for him, he had to do a lot of cutting down from that, but anyway, it's still exposure we've never had, and I'm sure we'll continue to improve. And you guys can hear that okay? Back there? Okay, I can't hear it at all up here.
Honestly, the only concern I would have with it is that, for a senior especially, but like by the time they like, wait, I want to do this, wait, I should grab a pen, wait, I should, what was that
Yeah.
number? You know what I mean? Like it's so fast
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
and
I mean, it makes
that's
you aware
kind
of
of
it,
common
but-
with any radio ad.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's the typical problem, yeah, for sure. But, you know, and it may catch some people, it may just give them a little hint of familiarity with our program.
So are you doing those radio spots statewide or?
Yeah, it's just a PSA release, so depending on the radio station, they can pick it up.
Gotcha.
I do send them to the regional coordinators if they wanna, you know, ask their station to do it more often, or, you know, whatever. It's flexible that way, but yeah, we're asking them to run it for free. And each radio station is required to run some nonprofit free ads, so it does get put in a loop with a lot of other things, so. I don't know the full exposure, but it's something we've never done, and we're kind of excited to give it a shot this year, so. All right, and then we also did a change to our website, and we did create logins, right, Tammy, for these folks? So.
Just did.
Okay, so Tammy created logins for everybody. It's a location for our materials. I'll show it to you. But all of our materials, if you want to check it out for our training, we have a training portion of it, as well as a scheduling tool. That's more for volunteers if they want to have a scheduling tool on our website for their counseling locations. It's all optional, but we did create a login, and it is it's written in here. If you go to, we're gonna go through it later too. We'll get to that, I guess. But it is the first letter of your first name, your last name, and then the password is SHIINE, all lowercase, SHIINE. But it's a good spot to go to for the materials that we're gonna be offering today. If maybe one of your coworkers missed the training, which that we found out was a miscommunication. I sent out the invitation the same as I did every year, but it turns out some people didn't feel invited to the training, and so everyone's always invited to my training. So I don't know where the hiccup came. Maybe it's because we weren't in DSS, because I think it was the economic assistance folks that didn't. But I know the long-term care folks were invited, obviously.
That's us.
Yes, but it's, I think some EA folks came before and didn't feel invited. Anyway, but if anybody needs to take the training or wants more information on Medicare, we just need to get them an account and that kind of a thing. So, we'll go through that later. One thing that we're doing, and this is just good to know, we're participating in a pilot program for to report the money we have saved the people we're helping by comparing plans. So we were asked by the feds, the federal government who administer our grant, if we would be willing to track in a new way the savings that our program has done for our Medicare beneficiaries of our state. Because we've had some problems in the past. Our program has been on the chopping block per se at the federal level. It was just recently added back by the Senate in their budget as a level funded program. So that we're very appreciative of, and we do anticipate it to be funded again next year, the SHIP grant, which is about half of our program's funding. So it makes us a little bit anxious as a federal program, so all of our SHIP programs across the state or the nation, we wanted to find a way to show people, because dollar savings is really impactful. People understand how much you saved, how much we're investing in this program. They can see the value with that. So they wanted to try this out because it's difficult to track the savings that your program is generating for your state. So we are doing this pilot where we are tracking additional information, and it's optional, just like the savings tracking has always been for our volunteers. But it does, what this does do that we couldn't do before is they'll publish that at a federal level to show the savings. So that is really neat. We can say what we have saved based on our tracking before, but it's not validated the way the federal government would like it to be. So what we're doing is collecting a little bit more information, and so if you log into ShipTalk ever to enter your data, there's going to be a few different fields to be able to track this, and we'll go into that later on how to do this. But we're participating in a movement, and there are some hiccups that have gone along with it, but so far we have saved a lot of people a lot of money, and we've tracked it that way. We've been working a lot with consumer protection. We're very concerned about Medicare cards changing here in the near future, which we're going to learn more about a little later. But we are working on some different publications, which we don't have back there. Oops.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what I did. No, I don't have them.
I thought I saw some somewhere back there.
Anyway, we created this handout. I'm going to have to just maybe mail some out to your guys' office because they're the new Medicare cards, and their Medicare beneficiaries are going to get new cards with new Medicare numbers. So it's a major systematic change across not only Medicare but healthcare, the provider networks. They all have their bill to a Medicare number. They have to switch that. Consumers are going to be confused. And so there's a lot of concern. There's going to be a lot of fraud surrounding this change, which usually change does bring a lot of fraudsters to the table. So we're trying to educate Medicare beneficiaries by working with consumer protection in a variety of ways. We're going to be doing press releases every 3 weeks or so, just trying to push out the new information that we have. We also are going to be doing some radio work because they already have a spot with radio stations where with high school sporting events, they have the referee is the law of the land, and then they go into their PSA. which this is what we've done with them. This is our first one.
SHIINE, the state senior health insurance program, and the Office of Attorney General, Division of Consumer Protection are fighting fraud and abuse in the healthcare system. If you have Medicare, you can help by guarding your Medicare number. Don't share it with anybody who contacts you by telephone, email, or in person. Medicare will never contact you for your Medicare number or other personal information. To report potential fraud, waste, or abuse, call Consumer Protection at 1-800-300-1986. That's 1-800-300-1986.
So in addition to that, we're gonna be doing a lot of other work with them. We may even do some TV work, that kind of thing, but we're very concerned. People are gonna be asking people for their old number because they're gonna give their new number over the phone. Medicare will never call, it's a scam, and we just wanna make sure our beneficiaries are as educated as possible with the changes and how that's gonna take place. A few other things that we've been working on, we have been talking with the Sioux Falls Multicultural Center about doing some new multi-language type events in that area. So hopefully that will be a start of us dabbling in more into the diverse populations of South Dakota. Even though we don't have that diverse a population, there's still people that can't be reached because of language barriers or cultural barriers. So we're giving that a shot, and I think that's pretty neat. We're also working pretty closely with the Rosebud Sioux tribe and trying to educate the staff throughout IHS there on how just the Medicare ins and outs, as well as what they're seeing, and trying to help them address and troubleshoot problems as they happen. They've been a close partner of ours for a long time, and we just continue trying to work on helping serve the folks who utilize IHS services in that area, as well as other areas. I don't want to say that we don't in other areas, but we've been trying some new, unique things in that tribe just to try to expand to other areas eventually too. We've been working closely with Better Choices, Better Health. I'm actually one of the, on the leadership committee for Better Choices, Better Health, and there's actually a conference coming up here early October. I'm not sure what any of you guys are going to be involved in that, but it's a program for those, and these next few slides will go into it. So Better Choices, Better Health, I better just say this here. They are doing an opportunity for anybody who's trained by SHIINE to take advantage of an online workshop. I'm going to go into what the workshops are, but you can enroll, and I just need to gather your information and we can get you enrolled into one of those workshops. What it is tools and guidance to help manage your chronic conditions or even just your general health. I did the online workshop and I really loved it, and actually a lot of the takeaways I still do today, and I did it probably a year and a half ago. Tammy, are you doing it now?
Mm-hmm.
She's actively doing it now, just to get a good feel of it too. And I think really it's for anybody who would like to put their health first for a little bit, and you're the one setting your goals and that kind of thing, and it gives a lot of great tips for those who are managing chronic conditions like chronic pain or maybe diabetes. There's one specific for people with diabetes. Maybe they have a heart condition that they're trying to work with their doctor, but it's tough to set personal goals and to make improvements like that. So this is a evidence-based program that has proven results that people are following through with the way they're trying to help people integrate the change within their own life. So if you are interested in that, I'll have a sign-up sheet. I don't know where it is at this moment, but I will get it.
I have it, Jamie.
Oh, you have it. So.
Yeah, the thing is, you really have to sign yourself up because you choose when you want to do it. So if you want to do it, just let me know and I'll get you the offer code to get the webinar for free.
Yeah. So that's kind of neat, and it is available for like long-term services and sports. We do help finance it. So we through some of our evidence-based funding that we have from the federal government. So we do help finance some of the exposure across South Dakota. We've been utilizing a lot with the diabetic workshops as well as just the normal chronic condition workshops. So I may forward this information out to usually just the manager or the regional manager, and then hopefully they're getting that information to you to help encourage some of the people that you're serving, if they're having trouble with things, that they can come. And it's for anybody, so even those in long-term care, if you know of anybody who could benefit, it really is a neat program. But it helps with a variety of things. Like I said, it's for those who are, just have a few, they would like to work on their health a little bit, to those with chronic conditions. And it is focused for those with chronic conditions, but I think anybody could take a lot from it. So we do have, just have to let Tammy know if you're interested, and she'll send you the information then. All right. That is it for that presentation. So,